Hi there, welcome back. It's me. Hope everyone's enjoying the term so far. I know it's been pretty fun so far. So getting right into it. A teacher who's inspired me. I always have one specific teacher I talk about when people ask me these questions. Her name was Mrs. A, or Mrs. Agnifili, but since we were kids, she always said, just call me Mrs. A, it's easier. So whenever I think about the classroom I want to have, it's always based off of her classroom. Let's see. I always wanted to replicate hers because she was kind and patient. She always said that shouting was bad for learning, and I really like that, actually. Two specific things, actually, I would use to describe her would be patient and nurturing. As I mentioned, she never shouted at us. Instead, she would take us aside and use soft, stern words, like, come on, you have to be quiet. No one's gonna be productive if you're gonna be mean in class or acting out during class. Which is, why I chose patient, because she was very, very patient with us. I chose nurturing because it implies that she was motherly, and while I did accidentally slip up and call her mom once, I chose this actually because she nurtured our minds and used fun and interesting ways to get us to learn a new topic, like songs or dances or hands-on projects. So yeah, she's always been the one person I choose to talk about whenever these questions come up, because she was just who I strive to be in a teacher. Even though I'm teaching a little bit older classes than she did. She was my second and third grade teacher, so we were small, but that's the type of classroom I want to have. Okay, connect to professional standards. Our article from last week had an interesting definition, which involved 3 specific things that teacher professionalism needed to you needed to exhibit to have professionalism in teaching. It was professionalism involves attitudes and actions that convey respect, uphold high standards, and demonstrate commitment to those served. I would interpret this as pretty much just what standard teachers must meet to do their jobs most efficiently. They keep positive relationships with children while also still being able to teach them the necessary curriculum to help them succeed to a state standard. The article mentioned that people who show teacher professionalism must have a commitment to their students and make them the top priority. And I think that's very essential for teachers to have. Something that I think also is just important as making kids your priority is teachers must have room for continual growth to show teacher professionalism. I think this is essential because if you're not growing, then your classroom is monotonous and repetitive. And if you're keeping room for yourself to grow and change, you can always improve on your craft and become the best teacher you can be eventually if you leave yourself that room to grow continually throughout your career. Let's see, the video, Rita Pearson. Right off the bat, she says, I'm quoting directly here, she says, kids don't learn from people they don't like, which I really like that because it is true. Even growing up, I didn't like a lot of my high school teachers, and I didn't really want to learn from them because I thought they were mean, and I was like, why should I pay attention to someone who's mean, so she is, through this quote, she's exhibiting likability to her kids, which is a very important characteristic to have. She is clearly very funny through the video. You're watching it, she's funny, and she uses different classroom projects to get her kids involved, which is very good, very good. She also provided an example from one of her classrooms. A student missed 18 out of 20 on a quiz, but instead of writing -18 on the paper, she wrote +2 because it wasn't all bad. She said that. This shows her positive and encouraging mindset. She is looking at an F as an opportunity to grow and therefore challenge the child to try harder and do better next time. And she said, the child said, "Oh, Miss Pearson, I will do better next time," which is like much better than if she said, "You got an F." And the kid was like, "Well, now I'm never going to do better," you know? Like, it encourages them to grow from a failure instead of thinking that they're going to fail every time. Okay, teachers' rights and responsibilities. What are 2 key rights that teachers have in their professional roles, and how do these rights support their ability to teach effectively? Okay, so the 2 things I got from the article was academic freedom and the right to due process. So academic freedom is that teachers have the right to select appropriate teaching methods, materials, and classroom strategies within the bound of their curriculum and what the state wants them to teach. So this supports effective teaching by allowing them to like tailor their instruction around what the students need. So they're like adapting the curriculum the state gives them to better teach their students. And that also fosters creativity and engagement, of course, like making it interesting to them obviously is going to get them to learn more. Yeah. And the right to due process, which is very important to me because teachers cannot be dismissed without a fair and impartial procedure. This ensures the stability for students and the teacher. They can focus on their teaching without fear of like unjust termination. So they're much more focused on, their students as opposed to, oh, am I going to get fired for doing this? Am I going to do something wrong and then get fired? No, like that's the right to due process, pretty much, if that made any sense. Describe 1 responsibility teachers have toward their students and explain why it's essential for maintaining a positive learning environment. So 1 responsibility the article provided was called duty of care, which is teachers are responsible for ensuring the safety and well-being of their students, which of course, right? This includes protecting them from harm, addressing bullying, and fostering a supportive environment. Maintaining this responsibility is essential for creating like a positive and inclusive learning environment where students like feel safe enough to participate in your lessons and like actually learn and thrive off of that. So yeah, if they feel safe, then they're going to learn better. That is something that I really like, and I've learned through my college courses. I would never want to encourage an unsafe or unaccepting learning environment in my classroom. So this is very important for everyone to know this responsibility, that, safety and well-being come first, pretty much. What limitations might be placed on a teacher's right to free speech in the classroom? Okay, so teachers' free speech can be limited when their expression disrupts their teaching and their educational process, or if what they're saying contradicts the school or district policies. So, for example, like personal political beliefs, like it may be against their district policy to talk about politics because it threatens neutrality, and it's not like what's the word? It doesn't foster learning, like it has nothing to do with the lesson. Why would you talk about politics in your room? So that kind of is a limitation on the right to free speech for teachers, because you have to use your curriculum and not, go off script with politics or religion too. That's one thing, like religion and politics or something you don't want to talk about in your classroom. Let's see. Why is understanding both rights and responsibilities important for teachers? How can this understanding impact their relationships with students, parents, and the social or the school community? Okay. Understanding rights and responsibilities ensures teachers balance their authority with accountability. It helps them navigate challenges, and it fosters trust and respect with the students and parents and their coworkers, potentially. For example, a teacher who knows how to exercise academic freedom responsibly can build stronger relationships by showing their dedication to their students' success and by being professional. Like teacher professionalism is a perfect example of that. It makes sure that colleagues and students and parents know that you're dedicated to their success, pretty much, if you show professionalism. Okay, let's see. Okay, ethical scenario. This one was fun. I really like this one. The scenario I chose was scenario 3, which was with Mr. J. I'll read it just in case. Mr. J is popular with the students. He often converses and jokes with them in the halls between classes. It's common for him to greet female students and staff with a hug and male students and staff with a pat on the back. One student has complained to the administration that Mr. J's hugs and physical contact makes him uncomfortable. Mr. J has been advised by the principal to stop physical contact with students and staff. He agrees to try, but he can't promise anything because that is the way he is and he isn't doing anything wrong. Okay, so this does raise a lot of concerns and issues because he's clearly violating the student-teacher boundary, and well, he might not mean it as something bad. He might just be being friendly, but a lot of the time, especially with like puberty-aged kids, they will interpret this as something weird or even sexual. So if a student's boundaries have been crossed in that way, that is obviously an issue, and Mr. J might get fired from his job or even put on an offenders list if the student feels the need to take it further than the principal and he doesn't like change his behavior, The document that we read, the module 5, it made a really good point that I want to just reiterate in this situation, is that teachers and students are not friends. Like as much as you may want to be friends with your students, that is not a way to teach, because then they'll expect like special treatment as opposed to just sitting and learning, Let's see, how could this situation become a violation of the law or the code or their school district policies? Okay, so the code in the module states teachers must create an emotionally and physically safe and healthy learning environment for all students. And if students are genuinely feeling uncomfortable with what he's doing, his classroom has become unsafe for his students, and he's violating this code that I just told you about. So yeah, if any person expresses being uncomfortable, then he's automatically violating a code. And I'm sure that the district also has rules on physical touch, and he needs to, find alternatives to touching people. Yeah. What are some potential negative consequences for the teacher and his students in the school community? Okay, so Mr. J obviously could lose his job and his teaching license, which in turn could spark harmful rumors. My kitties are over there being silly. It could spark harmful rumors about him, and with those rumors, the school community name might be sullied, and they could lose state funding because of some controversy that involved Mr. J, if something was taken further than the principal. So the district, like I said before, the district likely has rules against student-teacher physical contact, and he is violating that since he is doing that. What responses, actions will result in a more positive outcome? So clearly, the school principal has talked to Mr. J about this professionally, and he needs to, the principal needs to, keep him under, he needs to watch him and make sure that no one is feeling uncomfortable with what he's doing. And he needs to talk to him about limiting his physical contact, maybe an elbow bump. My PE teacher in high school used to do that. He used to do elbow bumps, which I think were solid. You don't have to do that. You could just not touch him. It's optional for a student. If a high five or an elbow bump would make them feel uncomfortable, they don't have to do it. So giving that option is really important too. The principal should take more drastic measures if Mr. J continues to ignore district policy and the direct advice that the principal gave him. He could also like use verbal encouragement as opposed to the physical, maybe even like positive reinforcement tactics if he wants his students to feel like more appreciated in their classroom. He doesn't have to give them hugs or high fives. He could just give them like candy or stickers, you know, like he doesn't have to touch people. But yeah, that's all I've got. Yeah, have a good day.